Sarah had lived on the family ranch all her life. She was an independent spirit, brought up in the company of ranch hands, and had learned how to look after herself. But now, in her mid-30s, she was beginning to feel stifled by her parents watching over her all the time. She wanted more independence and asked her father if he could build her a place of her own. They chose a site about 5 miles from the main house. It was a few hundred yards from a disused barn that had a water tower next to it, which made it an ideal spot. Just behind the house, there was a small hillock with a huge oak tree on the top. And Sarah could imagine putting a swing on the branches for her future children to play. The cottage was soon built, and the day came for her to move in. Her ma grew all emotional, but Pa told her to stop being so silly. After all, Sarah was only moving 5 miles away, and she'd still be on family land. She moved in and spent the day getting organized in her new home. Worn out, she went to bed early. Her deep sleep was disturbed by a sudden strong gust of wind. The gentle breeze had strengthened, and it was billowing the curtains. She lay there half asleep, too tired to get up and close the window. Suddenly, she froze. She was sure she could hear whispering. She listened hard. It seemed to come and go. It was like rhythmic chanting. She reached her hand across to switch on the bedside lamp. At that moment, there was a huge clap of thunder. Sarah screamed and recoiled. Then she shook herself out of her fear. She told herself she was being childish and imagining things. She sat up in bed and tried the lamp. It wouldn't switch on. It was beginning to rain outside, and she got up to switch on the main light, but that wouldn't come on either. There must be a power outage. There was another loud peal of thunder, and as it died, she could clearly make out the sound of whispering. It was getting louder. She went over to close the window. Now, mixed in with the rainfall and whispering, she could just make out the sound of drumming. It was coming from the direction of the old barn. She got dressed, grabbed a flashlight, and picked up her rifle. Her horse, Silver, was in a lean-to at the back of the house. He seemed agitated, and she had to calm him down to saddle him up. As she mounted him, there was another flash of lightning. She looked up and screamed with horror. The body of a hanged man was swinging from a branch of the big oak tree on the hill. She pulled out her rifle and headed towards the terrifying apparition. Suddenly, in the light of the storm, she saw 2 Indians about 30 yards away. They were both riding bareback and were wearing war paint. One of them was arming his bow and arrow. She raised her rifle, but the light went, and she didn't have time to take aim. Another flash of lightning and a war cry made her look to the left. 2 other Indians were riding alongside her at about 20 yards. She fired above their heads and turned Silver round. She kicked him into a gallop and headed for the family ranch. But she could hear the Indians keeping pace with her, yelping and screaming. Then, in a flash of lightning, she saw an Indian charging straight at her. He had a tomahawk raised in his hat. She fired straight at him. Silver reared up and threw her. She fell to the ground. There were screaming war cries coming from all round. She ran over to some boulders a few yards away and crouched down, firing randomly at shadows. Then all of a sudden, everything went calm. The rain stopped and the wind died down. She could just make out the sound of a car engine, getting louder. Alarmed by the rifle fire, her father had woken Dick, the head ranch hand, and they were racing across the prairie to find out what was going on. They took her back to the ranch, where her mother was beside herself with worry. When she told them what had happened, she could tell from the looks they gave each other that they didn't really believe her. Her pa said it was probably because she was too tired, that her imagination had got the better of her. The next day, Dick called at the main house with one of the ranch hands, Billy. They gave the 2 men coffee, and Dick said that Billy had something to say. He told Sarah that there was danger in the place where she'd built her house.
One Tree Hill is sacred land. Nobody must go there.
He then told the story of what had happened at One Tree Hill.
There was a band of warriors who took shelter in the barn, but they had been seen. That night, they were surrounded and killed by a group of ranchers, helped by the cavalry. All but one, Black Hawk, their chief. He was captured and horribly tortured, and then they hanged him from the big oak tree. Black Hawk is still in that place, so are the spirits of the other braves. The ranchers wouldn't allow their bodies to be collected by their tribe. So the dead have nowhere to sleep in peace, and their spirits remain where they died. It is a place of great danger. It is Skigagasiskalia, sacred land.
We hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please like and subscribe to our channel.